Hey guys, I'm 22 Tiger Dude. Welcome to Animation Domination 18. This will be the St. Patrick's Day edition since this night actually came out on March 17th, 2013, which is St. Patrick's Day. And no, not Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants. A lot of people think that, including me. But just St. Patrick's Day. Anyways, this will be the St. Patrick's Day edition. You can see from my thumbnail. And we're going to go ahead and start off with the Cleveland show according to the schedule I see right here. Alright, so in this Cleveland show episode, Donna runs for the school board and she's worried that Cleveland would embarrass her. And so she finds a replacement, and his name is Ebert Williams. He's the guy that plays Cleveland because she's so embarrassed by her actual husband, and she didn't want him to mess anything up from this. And then, meanwhile, in school, with the subplot, Junior skips PE by forgetting his gym clothes. And then principal insists that he joins a sport or something like that. So, what do I think of this episode? It was bad. This episode was just not good. It was so bad. I mean, it's not the worst episode of the season. That Christmas episode still holds as the #1 worst episode of this season. But it's just not a good episode. Like, I did get a few laughs. Like, I got a few laughs from the Cleveland plot. And maybe a minor chuckles from the Junior plot. It was kind of funny, I guess. But overall, it's just not a good episode. A lot of the jokes, pretty much the majority of the jokes, were not funny at all. They felt forced. They were just stupid. And it was just not funny. I will admit, the episode got kinda enjoyable in the final act because that was when Donna was with Cleveland, the guys, and she found herself hungover on the NASCAR racetrack. So, like, starting when they find themselves on the NASCAR racetrack, the episode got kinda enjoyable. So it saved the episode a little. The final act, actually, it was kind of enjoyable. It was pretty nice to see Donna accept her husband for who he is, even if he is an embarrassment, Cleveland. And that's another thing, Donna was not nice here, but in the end, I could kind of forgive her because she did accept him, and I thought that was nice. Unfortunately, there's not enough positives in this episode for it to be more enjoyable. It's just bad overall. But the NASCAR thing is probably my favorite part of the episode. Like, it was great to see Tony Stewart there, and that was actually probably the funniest part of the whole episode. All the NASCAR drivers and just that whole NASCAR scene. That was probably the funniest out of all the entire episode. And it was the most enjoyable part actually for me. This episode is going to get a 3 out of 10. Just not worth your time. Just skip it. Especially if you hate this show. Now we go on to The Simpsons, and this is an Easter episode. Funny. An Easter episode came out on St. Patrick's Day. Oh well. Alright, so in this episode, everyone's all celebrating Easter. There's an Easter celebration going on. And then when Lisa and her band were blowing up their trombones, whatever instrument, hundreds of eggs flew out and it fired at the townspeople. And everyone, they obviously point their blame at Bart, like they suspect that he is the one. Since Bart is the prankster. And so they have this little court to decide whether Bart is the one that did that prank for Easter or not. Meanwhile, we have a subplot where Mr. Burns becomes a superhero and he becomes Fruit Batman. He's Batman, but with fruit. He just calls himself Fruit Batman. I don't know why, but Smithers, he was very fearful of his safety, so he just pays everyone to stage a crime, so it could seem like Mr. Burns is being helpful when he obviously isn't. This Easter episode, I can honestly say though, was just perfect. I love this Easter episode. It was creative, it was well written, it was well paced, and most importantly, it made me laugh all the way through. I really had no flaws with this episode. The whole plot with this little youth court deciding whether Bart was the suspect of that prank from the Easter celebration or not, it kept me interested. It was funny too. A lot of great comedic gold gags right there. And even the Mr. Burns Fruit Batman plot, I thought it was just very well done, and it was just very funny. It was just a very fun and terrific Easter episode all around. Like, I really can't complain about the Simpsons episode, and I just found it to be a very creative episode, and it's one of the most creative episodes I've seen in this season. I love this episode. Very, very great Easter episode. Both the subplot and the main plot were very funny, very entertaining in their own ways, and because of that, I am giving this amazing Simpsons Easter episode a 10 out of 10. Another The Cleveland Show episode. Let's hope it's better than the previous one I just reviewed right now. Okay, so this episode is about when Cleveland wakes up to his and Donna's wedding anniversary, but he only remembered the 3-year anniversary of him giving up his dream to be a baseball scout. Donna made his wish come true by him and everyone in the family to go to Los Angeles so Cleveland could follow his dreams. And each of the family members find something that they enjoy when they're in Los Angeles. And that's as best as I could go with the plot from there. Is this better than the previous Cleveland Show episode I just reviewed earlier? Yes. It is much, much better. It's still not a great episode, but it's enjoyable. It is good, it is decent, and I liked it. It gave me some good laughs. I mean, the writing is alright. It's, it's decent. I really enjoyed the characters here. One of the things I liked was how Cleveland referenced Family Guy here, because in that scene where Donna was going to surprise Cleveland with him going to Los Angeles, Donna's all like, Cleveland, I got a surprise for you. And then Cleveland's all like, I'm going to go back to Family Guy? He actually made the line, if he's going to go back to Family Guy. I really wish he was back at Family Guy, actually. I really loved Cleveland back when he was on Family Guy. Now that he has no show, oh man. I do pray that this show will end sooner so he can return to Family Guy, because I miss seeing Cleveland and Family Guy, actually. But anyways, let's get to this review. It's not about that, it's about my thoughts on this episode. It's a good episode, it's enjoyable, some good gags. Characters were all around likable. I like how they were found something to do in Los Angeles. They each had their own plot that was decent and entertaining. Some of the moments in this episode were pretty stupid and felt forced. That's really the major issue I had with the episode. And then the ending when Cleveland wants to go back to Steuben and show his family, everyone, why they should go back to Steuben. And the whole twist at the end, it was very funny. I actually didn't see that coming. It's a likable episode. So I'll go ahead and give this Cleveland Show episode a 7 out of 10. Thank you for wiping off that previous Cleveland Show episode out of my head. Now we are on to Family Guy. Alright, I am going to describe the plot. That's for the first 6 minutes, and then I'm going to tell you what the main plot of this episode is. Alright, so the plot, for the first 6 minutes at least, is about when Peter, Quagmire, and Joe, they want to do something to shake up their boring lives, and so they decide to do that by going skydiving. That was only for the first 6 minutes, sadly. And then after that was over, it landed Peter in the hospital. And Peter from there, he met a friend at the hospital. But you know who his friend was? He was a Muslim. And he was actually a Muslim terrorist. And they were part of the whole 9/11 operation. And yeah, I think you guys might know what I'm going to probably say in this review. And you could probably try to guess what I thought of this episode before I even say what I thought of this episode. Now, I'll go ahead and just start with this. The skydiving scenes for the first 6 minutes, it was really funny. It was enjoyable. I had a fun time, and seeing Peter, Qui-Gon, and Joe skydiving was hilarious, and it was just random, and, you know, it's just your fun Family Guy techniques that, you know, we like to see. Alright, so that was the enjoyable part of the episode. And then, after that was over, things turned around after Peter met that Muslim. And so, this episode was so bad, you guys. I really don't like to say that. But it's true, it was a bad episode. And after that first 6 minutes, it just really slapped me across the face. It got me irritated, it got me offended, and I would think Seth would know better by now not to make episodes with plots like that, you know, that has to do with 9/11, all that stuff. Because we want to watch TV to escape the reality, and 9/11 was like one of the most tragic things that ever happened. And Seth MacFarlane making plots about 9/11, it really has me offended more than anything else he's ever done, actually. So I did not like this episode because of that. Peter was very unlikable here. I mean, yeah, during the Muslim scenes, I did get a few laughs, but really not a whole lot. The storyline was very terrible. It was so painful to watch. I honestly think if this episode was just skydiving, maybe it'll get a bit repetitive. Yeah, I'll admit. I could picture it being a bit repetitive. But I'm sure even if the skydiving episode would have been repetitive, if they did throughout the whole episode, I'm sure it would have been a million times better than what they did with this episode right here. The whole Muslim thing, it just shouldn't have existed. It wasn't necessary at all. And then the ending to this episode, it was just so terrible. The episode gets worse and worse and worse. It got me angry, and it got me angry at Seth MacFarlane. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stop from there. I really don't want to talk about this episode anymore. I'm just gonna end it by saying it's offensive, it's painful, and it's just terrible. Terrible. And Seth MacFarlane, if you are watching this, please stop making episodes that have to do with terrorists, 9/11, and all that stuff that we do not want to see. So stop, Seth MacFarlane. Just fucking stop. Alright. What did I get this episode? Well, because the first 6 minutes with the skydiving was enjoyable, and because it was hilarious, plus the fact I got a few laughs during the Muslim terrorist scenes, I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 3 out of 10. It's a slap across the face, you guys. Just avoid it and don't even bother to watch it at all. So for the final premiere of the night, it's Bob's Burgers. And so this episode is about when Tina asks Jimmy Jr. to the school dance. Jimmy Jr. gives her the answer, a maybe. And so Tina goes to this other guy. He's a ballet dancer, and she starts to date him and winds up going to the dance with him. And Jimmy Jr. gets jealous. Meanwhile, there's a subplot with Bob, who's strongly disagrees about school dances. And Linda tells Bob to go to Tina's dance so he could kind of have like a middle school memory that he never had because he skipped his dance. I like this episode. It was decent, but it was a nice little pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed myself watching this episode. It's not a perfect, great episode by any means, because it does have its problems. Like, it gets kind of boring, gets uninteresting, it gets a little choppy at moments. And same thing for the main plot. The main plot, it was just kind of stupid, right? But really, other than that, I did like this episode. I honestly did, despite its problems. It's randomly funny, fresh moments, and it made me laugh, like good laughs. That's what I like. Characters were pretty good here. They were likable, they were enjoyable. Well, actually, the two guys, they were really annoying, actually, especially once it hit that school dance scene. Stop. I think if you're a fan of this show, you will enjoy this episode. If you like Tina, the character, then you'll like this episode. It's a fun episode. It's nothing special, but you know what? It's a decent time at least. I'm going to go ahead and give this Bob's Burgers episode a 7 out of 10. Wow. So for the night, there were 2 3 out of 10s, 2 7 out of 10s, and 1 10 out of 10, making the Simpsons Easter episode the best of the night. Subscribe to my channel. Comment and give me your thoughts on each of the Animation Domination premieres. Like and share this video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power.